I'm telling you, it is the definition between an entrepreneur and an employee. The employee goes to the cliff, looks over the cliff, says, "Is there a balloon down there? Do I be safe? What happens if it clicks? What if I land on my neck?" The entrepreneur, they said, "We need to jump off the cliff, backs up 10 feet to get a fucking run."
This town needs an enema.
Fuck.
Julio, where's Commissioner Gordon? Come on, you guys can beat me. Too stupid!
Wait, you don't really think you'll believe it? Things change.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Everything changed. And anyone who tells you different is just lying.
You know who this is? This is Mark motherfucking Sylvester.
Nailed it. Look at us. You're on mute, dude. Mute. We almost had a perfect intro.
It was like prom night all over again.
Wait, what?
Never mind.
Yeah.
I want the twins.
Yes. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a second. Well, actually, it's been a week. Yeah, we just
it's been a long week. We've been working on ourselves.
I've been so messed up over the last few weeks. Like, my schedule has been all out of whack. I don't even know what day it is half the time, let alone what shows I've missed or what shows I've been a part of. It's crazy. But welcome back, everybody. Thank you.
We're here, and you're welcome.
Yeah, if you can, wherever you're watching, please share this out. Let people know that the stream is live. Come over to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll get rolling here as soon as we get some more people flowing in here. I do see
drop the link in other people's chats as well.
Yeah,
they're fond
spam
of that.
The shit out of everybody.
Yeah, spam us, like
that'll endear everybody to us.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. Shout out to the Core 20. The Core 20 is in the house. Good to see you guys. I haven't shouted you out in a while. I've been off my game. I will say that. What did I just say? Oh yeah. So I dropped that in the YouTube chat. The Core 20 is in the house. We love you all. Appreciate you.
All right,
Sean. Before we get rolling here.
Yeah, baby.
You just got out of seeing Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Theater, as the kids say these days. Quick rundown. What did you think of it?
You know what? I thought it was just under perfect. It fit all my expectations, everything I would have wanted to see. Everybody brought their A game again, from the writers, the directors, the cinematography, the choreography of the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Beyond all the other two movies. And it was just awesome. And you know what? You're going to go in there, regardless if you're an original Fox fan or you're an MCU fan, a Deadpool fan, whatever. You're just going to enjoy the fuck out of this film. And if you don't, I think you're dead inside. I've dated a bunch of women like that. But this is the movie that it's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people, and it's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to go see a bunch of times. I saw it in 3D, which kind of threw me off here and there. Yeah. I think I'm
a huge 3D guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's some of it. Sometimes it's cool, but for the most part, I'd almost rather just see it the regular.
All I could get to get the seating that I wanted.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I think I'm just old and trash. Like I'm almost 45.
You're not almost 45.
I'm almost 43. We're getting there. But
I was just gonna say, come on, don't make us older than we are.
I mean, we're like Boone's wine. But no, I look forward to go seeing it again and again, but like normal screening.
Yeah.
Like, but it was such a fun ride from start to finish. Some emotional feels where it was just like, oh man, cool.
Obviously, no spoilers, but I do have to ask because I'm going to go see it at 8:30 tomorrow.
Okay.
8:30 or 8:40. I can't remember. It's one of those times. But tomorrow night, I'm going to go see it with my wife and another couple we know. Very excited. The stuff that we saw in the trailer. Now, there was rumors going around that was really kept most of like the first 40 minutes to the hour of the movie, and that there's like so much more that they're not even showing. Like, how much in a percentage have they not shown in surprise for a viewer going in to ride?
A good 65 maybe
that we haven't seen.
Wow.
Nice.
What we thought would have been not at all.
Okay.
They did their usual. Now that it's Marvel gotchas in trailers. If you catch my drift,
some fake trailer stuff that Marvel's done. They're
here and there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moments where like I was jumping on my seat like yo. The person behind me is like, shut up. I'm like, fuck you. I've been here since 1981. But yeah, it was awesome, man. It was cool to see. It was just cool, man. It was fucking awesome, and everybody should be proud that that's associated with it, had any little to big part of it. Like Rob should be crying for how awesome it was. Like, it was just dope.
All right, last thing, then we'll move on with the rest of the show. We got some people flowing in here. Out of 5 stars, what do you rank it?
Way beyond 5, like.
So above and beyond, huh?
Above and beyond, baby. Like, there's just shit in there that I was like, no, like I was like, let's fucking go. And then there was a little kid like with their parents, and then the little kid was like, let's fucking go. And I was like, God bless you. Good damn job you didn't pull out. Like it was awesome to bear witness and have this experience. It was,
dude. You got me even more excited now. Like I was already pretty hyped, trying to avoid spoilers and everything. Which shout out to everybody that's not spoiling the movie and everybody that is.
Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to it tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be talking about it on ACBA on Monday. We'll have a little before we jump into whatever comic book we're looking at. We'll discuss it for everybody that's seen it because I've been waiting for this thing. Too? For a year. Yeah, Jay saw it. So Jay saw it. I don't know if Kayla's gonna go see it yet or not.
Not yet.
Kayla, get out.
She's gonna wait for her dad for when things slow down for crowds. So we can't spoil anything.
So we'll do a non-spoiler quick discussion on ACBA on Monday at 10:15. So tune in for that, everybody.
That's gonna be tough.
All right, guys. Hail the Laura was number 1 in the chat, number 1 in our hearts. Good to see you, brother. We got the Mama Badger in the house.
What's happening?
Wait, is that how you make a heart? I don't know how the kids do that these days. This
is how the Backstreet Boys do it. Shape of my heart.
Oh, yeah. Got Maya in the house. Hey, girl, how's it going? Hope you're doing good. Speaking of Kayla, is in the chat. What's up with you? Good to see you. We got Edwin in the house.
What's up, Ace?
Hail to you, my friend. We have pizzas here. It says hello to you.
How you doing?
Got Jaro. Morning, boys. Hail the chat and everybody. I love that. Look at that. Hail to you, man. Henry Bemis is here as well. What's up, Joe and Sean? Hail the chat. Good to see you guys. Yeah, we won't spoil. Don't worry. Yeah, we're not those dicks. That's not what we do.
No, I like secrets.
I won't murk you.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. I prefer a screening where there are like 3 people in the theater. Yeah, I would prefer like a empty theater to a packed theater. It's just more comfortable,
Right.
It is what it is. Wherever you guys are watching, please share this out. Tell everybody we are streaming 800 stars, says Sean. That's probably a good rating. Probably a good rating out of 5. Go with 800.
Yeah.
Kayla says, my dad wants to know if there's any gay shit with Wolverine. No. I didn't even see it. I can tell you no. Yeah.
There's so much good shit. So much fly shit.
Oh, man. I need to see it. I want to see it. Damn it.
Yeah, it's so good. Fuck. So good, man.
All right. Let's get rolling.
All right.
It's... Wait, what night is it? It's Thursday night. There we go. See, I told you I'm all out of whack, guys. It's Thursday night. I'm feeling good. Welcome to
Art and stuff. 25 years in the business on a technicality. Like Norman, my skills are the baits. I might be a little dysfunctional, but I'm functional. I'm recklessly charismatic, the editor there extraordinaire, the Hispanic god on paper. I'm smoother than your days and underoos, creator of type 1, the only one, except no duplicates. I'm cooler than the gang, Jersey's finest, Sean Ahrendt with me as always, my brother in art.
I'm very talented, very sexy, very distinguished, always narcissistic, but never vain. Staunch defender of Rob Liefeld and Gina Carano, and a lover of all things 90s. Joseph Michael Sonntag, or Joe M Sonntag if you prefer, as the Pope likes to call me, JMS. Welcome to the show, and as always, what an awesome show we have for you tonight, because we actually have a gentleman that we met for the first time tonight who's got some really, really interesting ideas on expanding his business and going beyond crowdfunding as a small creator like we are. So we're going to have him on here in a second. Tell us all about that. Very interested. And yeah, shout out to you guys watching. Sean, who do we have with us tonight?
We have Sam from SINOPA Publishing. I can't wait to get in on this. Really excited to pick his brain, see his thought process so we can learn, grow, and better ourselves and future creators as well.
Yes, sir. This is going to be fun. Let's bring him on. Sam, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. Thanks for having me tonight.
Pleasure's ours.
Absolutely. I have to say, so we've talked before previously, but I had somebody hit me up in an email and said, you need to get this person on. So I was like, all right, we'll do it. So I jumped in, shot you a message. We talked a little bit. You sent me an email. I read the entire email, and you had some really, really interesting ideas. And I hit Sean up. I was like, yo, dude, we got to get this guy on. It's like, he's got some really cool ideas. Us being small creators, just kind of venturing it. We're at the ground floor right now, me and Sean. You're just starting with the crowdfunding stuff, but eventually want to kind of get to what seems like you're talking about doing. So we're like, let's get this guy on and let's jam a little bit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are, and then we'll dive into the juicy stuff.
Cool. I'm Sam Quinton. I own a little one-man company, SINOPA Publishing, right here in Frankfort, Kentucky. We make role-playing game books and comic books. Have a lot of fun, putting those out into the world. Been in business since 2017, nice. And we have a little bit of a crowdfunding presence. That's how we basically fund a lot of our remaining costs. And then a lot of our revenue, though, comes from our subsequent sales when we try and follow up with our business practice to make sure that we're getting sales out either through stores that we supply directly, which we're in about 30 different shops that we ship to directly from here. And then also with my friend Adam Watson. Hey, what's up? My friend Adam Watson with Comics Mainstream Distribution out in Oregon, who has us in several other locations out there, and mostly in marijuana dispensaries and liquor stores and stuff like that.
Get me into those.
I was just going to say
on spinner racks,
not to sell, but just like
Oh yeah. But yeah, spinner racks in the marijuana shops.
Yeah.
And
nice.
That's a good idea.
And he's doing other creators too as well. You've got folks who are putting out books like Anarch Press has representation on those from several different creators. So the big thing is to try and put books out in formats that we want people to be enjoying, the highest qualities that we can do it, and make it available digital, print. And we're actually working on getting some translations done to start releasing in Spanish, and hope to be releasing in Spanish next year, and hopefully in Japanese by the end of 2025 or maybe 2026. Just kind of depends. The big thing is that right now, as we continue to make stuff, all of our revenue rolls into new projects. So we eke out and slowly make one book at a time. We have 10, 11 comics out right now, something like that, between stuff I write, and then also we publish a book by Brian Lee called Necroholic, which is issues 1 through 3 are done so far. So we're churning them out as quick as we can and having a blast.
Nice.
But with one of the things that we talked about in the email was our debut into the broad spectrum of comic shops all across North America.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
to give a little background on that, if you're a small publisher and you're trying to do that yourself, it's very, very capital intensive, right? Because you have your costs for your diamond ad or your ad in Lunar, if you can get into Lunar, which there's a bit of a waiting list. And then that expense there, and then you have to wait for your orders, make sure that you're paying out that money to get that done in advance. That's money out of pocket. And then when you get your order back in, you're printing to that and getting it to their distribution warehouses as quick as possible. It has to be on time every time. So you have to have a really good working relationship with your printer. Obviously, you've got to have the cash on hand to get that printed. And then once that's at the warehouse, it's there for a couple of weeks. Then it's out to shops paying, Diamond or Lunar, whomever, the following month. And then about 45, 60 days later, you're finally getting your money. So you're looking at like a 6 to 8 month process usually between the time you've bought your ad space and the time you start to see your money being recovered. So it's very, very capital intensive. And I could either really stick my neck out and work on that alone, or I could take a advantage of an opportunity that presented itself. Ben Dunn, co-founder of Anarch Press, had supported our campaign for the book that we're talking about tonight, which will spring on everyone in a bit. And he enjoyed it. And he said, hey, we're already putting out your friend, Larry Higgins's Niobe book. We're printing out your friend Max DeVille's and Atrocity Press's books. They've got like 3 different books out with them. A few other friends of mine have also released books through Anarch Press. And, a couple people I'm friends with it, releasing through Boom and a few other places. But the fun, hey, man, thanks, bro. That's our drive-through shop for our RPGs and digital comics. And
stuff. Nice.
But he said, hey, we could put this out. So the first thing we did was we had a little conversation. And one of the big things is that whenever I crowdfund comics for floppies, I don't reprint covers, right? So once we have a press run of something, that's all that's going to happen. When we go to print again, we do a new cover. Right. The idea from that is to try and preserve any potential collectible value, however small that chance may be, for our backers. It's a small thing that you can do that has a lot of potential, right? So imagine if some decades and decades ago, your buddy came to you with he said, hey, I need to buy like 40 cartridges for my printer. I'm going to print my new book, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and here's these black and white stapled stuff. Here's like a stack of them, whatever. And then they never did that again. And so now you've got that 1 in a million where lightning struck your copies of the originals. And that's, a big deal. Right. And while I don't think we're going to catch lightning in a bottle like that anytime soon, I think that on the off chance you owe it to your backers. So with Anarch Press, I went ahead and had a new cover made, which we'll go ahead and show that here in a bit, I guess. And that's what we went and offered on for Diamond. And then we took a black and white version of the original crowdfunding cover without the color treatment that our artist did on it, and used that for the foil variant. So it's actually a black and white image that's just been foil treated. So it's a really wild little cover that they've put together from that. And when put that out into shops directly. So it's actually in this month's previews. But the thing too we talked about, and this is where you guys were really magnanimous to have me on, is I had noticed when I look at the people who are independent creators who are getting their stuff out through other different companies, whether it be Anarch Press, whether it be Boom or whomever, Madhouse, all these guys. If you look at the overall sales numbers, like a new indie comic, coming off a Kickstarter or something, usually falls somewhere in between 400 to 700 copies usually is where your median is, right? And that's just not a lot. I mean, that's really not enough to pay in your royalties back. It's really not enough to cover your not enough profit to make back your money on your cover. So I look at some guys who had done a lot of their own promotions, right? Because any small press guy is going to tell you there's not a lot of money to really push comics as far as from an advertising perspective, right? So you've got to make that traction where you can. And just like we do with our crowdfunding, where we try to get people excited, you know, we see a lot of people who come to our Kickstarters or Indiegogo campaigns or Fund My Comic pages who aren't really comfortable with pledging. You know, maybe they got burned on a bad campaign that's 3 or 4 years late fulfilling or whatever.
Right.
Or maybe they just don't know if they're really going to dig it or not. And they'd rather, you know, support their local shop. So with this, it occurs to me that, you know, these guys, as they go out and they promote that, you see that their numbers tend to track higher than overall sales, and their retention tends to stay pretty well so long as they keep that promotion up. So just like with our crowdfunding, if we apply that and, you know, talk to the people who are talking about comics, and instead of us getting hung up on, hey, our comic shop's dying, is comics bad? Comics are kicking ass and taking names. You just have to know where to look at the titles. There's some really fantastic stuff out there. One of the best written comics I've read in a while was Cornrows by Hawkins. And then I think my favorite writing right now is from Atrocity Press with their series Human Hunters. Although Boston Metaphysical Society by Madeline Haller-Rossing and of course Miskatonic High by Mike Shea, those are right up there too. Fantastic comics that are coming out with amazing regularity from top flight people who just aren't famous, you know, who are just breaking in, you know, just chipping away one stroke at a time, digging themselves higher and higher and pulling themselves up and just demanding more attention by their excellence. And so you look at those, and those people, they start up instead of like 400 to 700 copies when they come out, you start seeing more like, you know, 800, 1,000, 1,200. You see stuff like Niobe from Larry Higgins with Anarch Press doing 1,500, 2,000 copies. Common America around the same thing too. And as those keep releasing more books, more and more people are like, okay, hey, so this has got a little legs on it. We got another one. Let's go ahead and get another book out. And the test as a creator comes to, you know, can you keep your momentum with, you know, the whole demands on yourself? Can you keep promoting your stuff? Can you keep shouting to the rooftops with sincerity so that people know you're not trying to bullshit them?
Right.
And say, hey, man, I made a cool book, or I made a cool, you know, dozen books or whatever. And now you can just go down to your local shop, order it and get it. And you don't have to worry about, you know, paying $9 in shipping or $15 for a comic. You know, if you're on a budget and you don't like digital, you know, support your local business, man, and get out there with your local comic shops and getting in your books into these other publishers who have the experience and have the know-how and have the cash flow to be able to help get that in there is going to make a huge difference for a lot of these guys. Myself, I'm hope as well, because this is our first time going through all the main distribution, as opposed to like the 30 stores we usually distribute to, or 30 store locations, I should say. One of the chains that we supply, they have 10 locations. And we did have 35, but we've actually lost 5 locations as shops closed over the last year and a half. So it's sad. One owner actually developed cancer and closed down, and then we had another who his wife passed and he shut down, and the others were just casualties of the economy. Right. But keeping your books coming, keeping your quality high, and staying excited and sincere, and, you know, not being afraid to say, hey, you know, we've got this done. It's cool. You know, shake hands and be excited. If you want to see something that'll reaffirm your faith as far as how comics are doing, go to a convention where Henri Compton is selling stuff. Okay. I've seen Henri Compton in 2 days sell 900 copies of his comic at a little show in Louisville, Kentucky.
Wow.
900 copies.
That's numbers.
That's
yeah.
numbers. Yeah.
That's more than I sold at New York. It's more than I sold for Tibby at New York Comic Con last year, you know? And I mean, we turned a lot of books in New York last year, but man, Henri that's
something else.
He actually ran out of books at New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
On Saturday.
That's the dream.
He ran out on Saturday.
That's cool.
So a couple questions just based on some of the stuff that you just said that popped in my head. So a few of us, probably more than a few of us that I know, but Sean and I talk about this all the time. Our co-hosts on Akba, Appreciating Comic Book Art Live, Kayla, who's in the chat right now, we talk about this all the time of expanding our reach and trying to get. Ultimate goal is to get the books into stores because that's where the majority of the readers are going to get books. Conventions are great as well. We didn't want to always have to be the crowdfunding guys. Just that's great for right now, right? Like crowdfunding has helped us get our books out or getting them into developed. Reaper Destroyer hopefully will be out there pretty soon. Type 1 is being worked on, and that gave us an avenue to do that. So shout out to that. But my ultimate goal as a creator is like I want to build like what you're doing. I want to have my company, Superior Press, producing more titles and getting stuff out into the actual stores. So how does, I know you talked about getting into orders and eventually getting into Diamond or whatever, but how do you actually get into certain shops? Like how do you get shops to actually buy into what you are selling so that they order your books?
Cool. So it's kind of like fighting a rainstorm. You're gonna have a lot of stuff just pissing away at you while you try and fight your way through. But I did it the hard way. What it was is I just knuckled down and I listened to something Brian Polito said about how when he was driving up and down the highway in California, stopping at every comic shop, walking his book in there and selling books to store owners and just making people look at the book. And so my thing has been, I've literally called, I think 80% of all the comic shops in the United States.
Wow.
Continental, Alaska, and Hawaii, and Puerto Rico.
Wow.
At least once every year for the last 5 years to try and pitch them new books. The ones who are already carrying it, we maintain regular communication. When I ship something, I follow up on it immediately. Like I have my tracking numbers through my stamps.com software. When I see that's delivered, I'll call those guys that night, say, hey, just want to follow up. Was there any trouble with the shipment? Did everything get there okay? If there's any problems, we replace the damaged stuff. No worries, no fuss. I have no problem with retention, And the nice part too is that these guys can take and order, different, multiple different titles. Like I said, we've got 10, 11 comics out right now.
Right.
And we have everything in stock to some degree, except for Reign of Ages issue 2, which we had a run on. But we'll take and Phil, if they say, hey, we need some 47 Furious Tales books, can we get some of those? A little Reign of Ages, some replacements on Necroholic, Tibby, 1 in a Million, whatever the titles are, we'll put it together just like it's its own little diamond order and ship it straight to them. Nice. But the thing that leads into actually getting into the shops is to, one, find out who's actually making the orders. So I'll email the store and say, hey, look, we're a small little publishing company in Kentucky. We are putting our stuffs out directly to stores, and of course now in Diamond through Anarchic Press. Thanks a lot, guys. We want to show you our books. Here's some digital copies. We'd like you to check it out. If you think this is something that could sell on it, here's what our terms are. We can get it to you like this, no problem. If you want something to send for an example to your customers, take and pull like 2 pages per book digitally, send it to them as one PDF so that they can say, okay, hey everyone, we've got a cool new indie comic place that's out there, and you can send them like a little script for it too, and they can go ahead and get these in if you want to check out some new indie titles, and boom, you send it off to them. Now, sometimes you're going to get guys who just won't read the email. You're like, okay, fine. Right. I'll follow up. I'll call. Say, hey guys, I'm going to like to send you an email so you can see the kind of comics that we sell. See if you'd be interested. We've got these in stock. We can get them to you through the USPS lickety split. Want to check it out. When we've got someone who's like, yeah, we kind of like to see what the books look like, I have no problem shipping like a demo copy to somebody. And we stick with, except during the pandemic when they're towards the tail of it, where there was a paper shortage, we tend to stick to the exact same paper metrics. Like we'll use like 110 or 130 pound cardstock cover, 80 pound interior satin soft touch papers, and away it goes. So the highest quality papers that we can lay our hands on, so that when people pick it up, they don't want to put it down. So for anyone, and I know Will Pace is in the audience out there, he's always commented about how SINOPA books just feel different. On our covers, the finish on there is a satin soft touch finish that the folks at Mix'em do, and it costs us a few cents extra when we're printing at offset levels. And, by that, I mean, we're printing, anywhere from like 1,800, 3,000, whatever, the print run is.
Right.
And then at that level, it's only a couple of cents difference. And if it really helps with retention, if it helps increase the joy of the experience the reader's having, I mean, I'm not going to miss 1 or 2 cents. And I don't think any of us should really Kayla, so the satin soft touch is amazing. It's fantastic. Sometimes you can't get it though, and that's just because, like I said, there was a bit of a paper problem for a while that really, and we're still kind of feeling the tail end of that with printing prices as high as they are, but it makes a hell of a difference. Like I cheat a little bit when we sell at conventions. Like I'll have demonstration copies out that are outside of the bags and boards. I say, here, you want to take a look? And as soon as it hits someone's hand, they're like, oh, okay, hey, what's this?
Right.
And then they flip through it, and I was like, hey, yeah, like it? Cool. Let's get you a nice, clean copy and get to you. Thanks, bro. He's the man. He's had me on the show many, many times. It's a lot of fun.
Very cool.
That's awesome. It's funny because I personally am not a huge fan of the satin soft touch. It's just something funky with me, but I do see that people enjoy it. Like I see a lot of people talking about it lately, as a preferred for the cover, and I see a lot more creators actually going that way and kind of doing it as opposed to some other finishes, I guess you could say. Yeah, Kayla's loving this conversation. Because this is, like I said before, she preaches this stuff all the time. We talk about this stuff a lot because Kayla works in the shops. She's been in the shops for years, among other stuff that she does, but she has a lot of knowledge just from shop owners, people that come in the shops, what customers like, what they don't like. So she's really, really good at a lot of the brainstorming with this. So I figured that she would be really into this conversation. So shout out to you, Kayla.
It's actually kind of weird where Anarch Press is handling like all the printing and everything for this issue that's coming out to the shops. So it's very like hands off for me. Just kind of, here's the print file, go do the thing.
Okay.
Which saves me a lot of work, obviously.
Right.
But it's weird, that I can't like quote what the actual print specs are for the one that's going out through all of North America. But all of the SINOPA books that we print directly, just fantastic stuff. To give you an idea, I got, let's do 47 Furious Tales. That's a good example book. So this was the first comic we ever released. It's part of a 12-issue limited series. We're about to do issue 4, hopefully by the end of this year. My artist moved, so we're trying to deal with that. To give you an idea, I don't know how many times you've seen a comic do this, where it'll just stand up by itself.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nice.
So, but
and that's the 100, the 110 card stock you're talking about?
Yeah, this one's 130, yeah. But try and make the most beautiful books you can.
Nice.
And so we have not bad for the first comic book we ever put out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's the satin paper?
Yeah.
Or is that just okay?
Yeah, the interior is that soft touch satin finish.
Soft touch satin. Okay. Sumo Thor's in the house. Good to see you, Sumo. He says, don't lie, Joe. You walked right into the satin one touch PJs at home, don't you? I do.
Nothing wrong with comfort, man.
Yeah,
He ain't
exactly.
the only one.
Yeah. I'm wearing pajama pants right now.
I'm not wearing any pants.
That's true. Yeah. For the longest time. No pants Thursdays.
Not just Thursdays.
just any day when we're filming from here up. Let's be comfortable everywhere else. Okay, so you said that you got your newest book is going out all across North America.
Yep, it's available through previews right now, and it'll be on shelves in September. They're targeting shelf date is September 24th. So long as there's no printing problems.
That's every shop, or just every shop that deals with Diamond? Every
shop that deals with Diamond and that orders our book. So that's the thing. We're encouraging people, because here's the thing. One of the things if you talk to shop owners, and I talk to shop owners as much as I can, is you'll see that they're very hesitant to try anything new, especially when it's something I've never heard of this, or if it's from a company that they don't normally sell a lot of stuff from. So if it's from Anarch Press, or if it's from what's another good example? If it's from Boom's probably not a good example because their sales numbers have been really strong lately. Maybe Madhouse, or IDW. There's a little bit of concern there, but those titles that just they haven't been carrying because there wasn't a lot of interest in them, they're oftentimes very hesitant to put any money into something. Maybe you'll get one or two, very rarely like 4 or 5, because that's just money that sits on the shelf and goes nowhere if it doesn't sell. So you have to know, what your client is and what appeals to it. And so for us as creators, Mad Cave, you have to know who your comic is supposed to sell to, right? So for example, when I look at 47 Furious Tales, it's an anthropomorphic story, samurais. It's basically for kids 13 and up to 100. If you
Right.
if you like TMNT or Usagi Yojimbo or old samurai movies, there you go. I get that, Laser, but it's pretty nice. But I mean, now you can pick this up at shops with the same paper stock the Anarch uses for Ninja High School. Or if you're doing stuff like Necroholic, which we published for Brian Lee, that one is specifically for late teens all the way up, and really targeting those 20s and 30-year-olds, because it's a dark comedy about someone with a drinking problem, and so when you're still partying your butt off, that's a really really fun topic, right?
Relate to it. Yeah.
And then Tibby and her time traveling psychedelic mushrooms, what we're the book we're talking about today. This is really for anyone who wants a fun read. It is a little risque. I mean,
A little risque from what I saw, but
so we're saying 18 and up. We actually don't sell it at cons to anyone who's under 18 because there's a lot of concerns about that.
That's a good call.
Just like with 47, we don't sell 47 Furious Tales to anyone who's 11 or under. 12 is probably fine. We really target like 13 and up, but little kids, like we've had to tell parents before. I said this is probably not age appropriate. And then Reign of Ages, we have little bits of nudity sprinkled in sometimes, so that's more of a 18 and up kind of title. So knowing who your product's for and what interests are, and how to sell the product without trying to resort to saying, well, it's like this or it's like that. Tom Hutchinson, who is from Big Dog Inc., knows probably more about selling, his independent comic and about how independent comics should be sold to the mass market than 100 other guys crammed into a small room together. And Tom is very big about, hey, don't be comparing your stuff to other stuff. Don't make people think about, oh, hey, my title's about this guy who escaped hell and he's burned to a crisp and he's back with the spirit of vengeance. So it's almost like Spawn. It's almost like Spawn, and you're like, well, oh, hey, I haven't bought Spawn lately. Let me go get Spawn. Well, what the hell, man? This is a tale of vengeance and gore. It's designed to bring the vengeance of hell back to your freaking face and say, hey, I'm not going to stand for what you did to me in life, so my afterlife is going to be making your life absolute hell. And that's how you pitch that kind of thing to your market. Not it's like
advice.
Spawn.
That's good advice. It is.
You come out and you put your story as the forefront. You put your product on everyone's mind. They've read Spawn and they'll keep reading Spawn. Spawn's great, but they need to read your book. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that comes back to the creator. You have to have confidence that you've done everything you can to make the best book possible. And even after it's done, everyone who's created a comic knows you're never going to be completely satisfied with it. You always say, well, I could have done this a little better, that a little better.
True.
Yeah. But at the time, if you know that you've done the best you can do, that's all anyone can ever ask of you. So at that point, it's time to let that baby walk away into the world and meet the public. And having that kind of confidence is really important.
That's interesting because I'll throw ourselves under the bus. Like when we
I'm gonna stand next to you while you do it.
Whatever. Like when we spiel our shit at the end of the show, we have a pretty loyal following, so we just kind of spitball whatever just to end the show. But they're used to our shtick. But I've said my book is, if you like this, you like this, you like this, you're gonna love this. listening to this discussion from you, I'm throwing that out the window.
Mhm.
You know,
I was
because
just thinking the same thing. Yeah.
you know,
And it's hard to do because like even sometimes I'll fall back into it because like people will say, well, what's it like? Well, it's like nothing you've ever read before. It doesn't really sit well with people because they don't have any way to conceptualize it.
right.
So sometimes you have to pick a little bit, you know. It's like Elmer Fudd meets Star Wars or whatever the hell else you're pulling out of it to describe what you're doing, right?
Right.
But you want people to think of your title as your title, not like a second-rate Spawn or a second-rate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something that is, you know, impersonating or approximating something else. It's your idea, your creation, your original thing. You know, let it out in the world and let people love it for what it is.
Yeah, that's killer advice. It really is.
Yeah, yeah.
I think in this is my downfall, or whatever you want to call it, not downfall, but shortcomings as a independent creator is the pitching. You know, because nobody really likes pitching. Sometimes it's hard to figure out how to pitch a book, and I'm absolutely guilty of this, of trying to figure out like how, like I know my story, you know, like I know behind the scenes where I'm going, what I'm doing, but how do I pitch the story to you when you shouldn't know anything about it except for the stuff that should interest you? You know, like I've sat for so long before I'd be like, well, fuck, how do I explain the coolness of the story without giving spoilers? Because I'm just like, well, I can't say this because you have to know about this. So, you know, I run into this, you run into like the wall a lot of times trying to figure out how to properly pitch. I think that's why most of us are not good at pitching our books, which is, you know, it's a major thing, especially when you're trying to get into new customers. So hearing you say that, it makes a lot of sense. It's probably something I definitely need to start working on better. Like Sean said, we kind of have our little spiel at the end of the shows. We always do, and it's kind of really quick, you know, and sometimes we rely too much on, like, go check out the page, you know, there's a breakdown. You can read the paragraph breakdown of everything. And like, here's a quick thing about what the book's about. And if you like this book, you're going to love this book. You know, that's kind of what we fall into. So I get exactly what you're saying. So yeah, need to evaluate that for sure.
I mean, it's a big deal, guys. We can take and make a lot of progress ourselves just by having faith in what we're doing. You know? I mean, that's a big deal any way you slice it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny because when we do, there was a mindset that I kind of got into, and I probably need to get out of it. But when we started doing the crowdfunding thing, especially when we're doing shows like this, because we do it so often and because we have trailers, a lot of times it becomes kind of a cop out for actually pitching the book, because you're just like, I have a book about a man who's trapped inside a supernatural suit of armor with a ancient spirit of death who's trying to steal his soul. Here's this trailer. Check out the trailer, check out the art, check out everybody that's on the book, and you kind of lead yourself away from the actual story, because in my mind sometimes I don't properly know how to explain. Like, to me the book is well written. Like I spent a lot of time writing the book and really spending a lot of time in that aspect. Like, I'm very proud of the book itself, the story itself. But yeah, sometimes I kind of get away from, it's like, well, what's the book about? And you sit there for a second. I'm like, I know what it's about, but how the fuck do I explain it to you? You know, like it's a pain in the ass. And sometimes we get into the lazy aspect of like, well, here, check out the trailer. And you're like, here, check out the art. Look at the synopsis, you know? So yeah, I get you on that. You definitely opened my eyes a little bit for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, we have to, as creators, if we're going to get our stuff seen by larger audiences, then we really need to have the confidence in our work to let it stand on its own. Now, here's another thing too, is I myself, I don't draw. I can't draw. It's not a talent and a skill I have, right? So I am dependent upon being able to hire the artists that I hire. And so I have to make money in order to pay these guys, right? And so the one thing that I get a lot of people asking me is like, well, how are you paying this? Because if you look at my crowdfunding campaigns, you look at the number of the books we put out and the volume that we put out, you'll notice that those crowdfunding numbers aren't very high. Like the most we've ever funded was right around $9,000 with Tibby, right? But yet we've got, 10, 11 books out. So the secret is, of course, as with any good practice in business, we cheated. So we took, when we did our first comic in 2019, 47 Fury Sales issue 1, I made the worst mistake I've made in comics as far as production goes, and I only printed 500 copies because I had no way of knowing if the book was going to sell or not. And I should have had a little more faith in it. So we sold that through in 4 months. We were completely out and completely done. And so as the coming storm of the pandemic was approaching, not realizing how things were going to get, in 2019, I ordered a second press run. We had a whole new cover and bought 3,000 copies on that press run for 47 Furious Tales issue 1 with the second cover, and got it in October. And of course, every convention canceled, every single one. So I had 3,000 books and nowhere to sell them. But lemons to lemonade, right?
Right.
Marvel and DC went pencils down. I called every single comic shop in North America that I could find a phone number for. Every single one of them. I said, guys, I know Diamond and them, they aren't shipping anything. We've got this cool indie book. Here's a PDF. We got issue 1. We're going to work on issue 2. But this is what we got. If you need some stuff to sell, this is what we can do. And we got stuff like down at the Collective in Altamonte Springs, Florida. They sold over 130 copies of issue 1.
Nice.
Now we had 4 or 5 different orders to get to there, but that's just one copy, one issue at one store,
right?
Which is a wild number. I mean, we were basically only outsold by like a couple of Batman series and the Ronin series, and for that one issue, it was wild, because what else sells 100-something copies at one shop, right?
Right.
But we would ship and shipped, and we ended up shipping about 1,800 or so copies over the course of those first 4 months while everyone's pencils down. Got our books into a lot of shops, and got some good relationships with a lot of folks. Some shops books sold well, some not so much. Just depends on what the fans were liking. But the cool thing about that is it kind of killed that fear of rejection, because hey, we've got some great books. If you're interested, here's PDFs for you to check it out. If you want a demo copy, I'll send you. Like, hey, we talked to you last year. We're not interested. That's cool. I'll call you in a few months and see if you change your mind. All right,
I love it.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, boom, we go ahead and call them again. And the places that we sell books to, I mean, they keep ordering our books and we keep selling them. So it's one of those things is just taking that advantage and taking that stride and stepping forward and seizing the opportunity, and then not letting go, because it's not quite catching lightning in a bottle. You're getting your toe in the door and you're working your way in and just working and working and working. You can't be afraid to work for it, guys, because it's not going to get easier anytime soon. It's a tough market on the best of days. And when you're working from, especially guys like us, when you're your own company, your one-man show, you're hiring out everything and you're getting by on the skin of your teeth and just your ability to show people that you have cool stuff, don't be afraid to work for it, because as soon as you slow down and stop, that's it.
I love what you're saying, because
I make 47 Furious Tales, Rick. Issue 4 is coming later this year, hopefully. Alexia moves back to Europe, so it's really screwed up our timeline, but we're working on it.
Nice. I love what you're saying, because we get stuck in the crowdfunding game, and that's, I guess if you do really, really great numbers and that's your aspiration, then you're making the money you're making, right? And then you're fine with it, But like the smaller creators, I think sometimes we forget. And I'm just blanket statement for independent creators out there that there's a lot more work than just the typical work we do here in the crowdfunding is like obviously produce the book and everything, but promote, get on shows, talk about your book, get it out there, because you're trying to sell your crowdfunder. Getting into the world you're talking about, expanding, getting into the LCSs and stuff. It reminds me a lot of when I was Sean's gonna love this, but when I was in a band back when I was a younger man, and we were an independent band, and to make a tour, we had to book the tours ourselves. So I would get on the phone and I would look up cities and I would map out, where we wanted to go, and I'd find clubs and I'd look up websites and see what kind of music they brought in, and then I would call them up and be like, hey, can I talk to whoever is in control of booking? I've got a band from Michigan. We're independent. We're touring. We're going to be in this city the day before or 2 days before. We're passing through. This is what we're looking for, blah, blah, blah. you know, and I had to do that to book every single tour, and you just constantly call people, and then you get a relationship with certain places. You come back the next time through, or you know, whatever. So
Yep.
it reminds me a lot of that, but it's the grind. You know, it's an absolute grind. It's selling yourself, being the salesman to really get your stuff out there. So I mean, to me, this has been great. Like I've really loved this discussion. This has been absolutely informative.
And hopefully not the first of many, because mine is blown. Like this is like me and Joey going to school. Like we're getting some great education. We're very centered focused on our own bullshit, but this is amazing. So yeah,
I'm really very fortunate because I've been acquainted with some really talented people. I have, like I said earlier when we were off air, I'm not particularly controversial. I get along with a lot of people who don't get along with each other.
Same with us.
And so
people like us.
I get to share like in the input from a lot of different people's point of view. And there's some people who have vastly different personalities, vastly different models of doing business, and have completely valid points about how they're executing their business and what they like to do, whether it's sticking solely on print or expanding and focusing heavily on digital, whether it's, you know, really working the crowdfunding as the crux of their business, or whether it's, you know, pushing out into shops as, you know, being the point where they feel like they've made it. There's a lot of different stages where you can be very comfortable. The key thing that I hope that people can find is the point where their passion is sustained, where their ability to produce is sustained through their audience, because crowdfunding exists for a reason. I mean, it's hard to, if you had to fund like a production of a comic out of pocket, good God, that would be terrible. I mean, during the day I work for the courts, so I'm not swimming in cash. But when I'm paying folks, we're talking a 24-page book is about $7,000 just in art and cover costs.
Right.
Okay? And honestly, I'd like to see us with a bigger budget for that. But to put this in perspective, if I were sustaining these books entirely from sales in the common distribution through shops and stores and retailers, that would require selling around 25 to 30,000 copies of every issue just to break even.
Wow.
You know, and that's what the mathematic reality of it is. Even if you're shipping yourself directly, but if you're shipping directly and you're shipping 30,000 books in a month per title, you're not doing anything else, right? But you're only breaking even. So that's where having that point where you can have other companies who are already doing this help you along until you get big enough to where you can say, okay, now I'm hiring people, now we're doing this, and now we're distributing that way. Perfectly cool. Just celebrate the small victories. I'm really happy that Ahrendt Press invited to do this for me. Ben Dunn's fantastic. I've been a fan of his since the late 80s when I first discovered Ninja High School. But being able to sit and talk with him and just hang out and have him tell me that he enjoyed my book was just freaking amazing.
That's great. That's great.
So
we got Sumo Thori gifted 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you, brother. You are what I like to call the man. It was picked up by Henry Bemis, Kayla, our very own Kayla, Jaro, Paulus Art, and the Gooch, Jay.
Where you at, Jay?
Yeah, where's he at?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be in the chat to get it. It's just
really?
You'll get a notification. But we have not played a bunch of our little videos here in a second. Which one? Let's do this one.
$15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me, oh.
Yeah, thank you, Sumo. You are fucking awesome. We love you. Yeah, the Gooch, you picked up one. It's funny too, because I just got gifted the membership to his channel on Tuesday night. So that works. I love that. Jaro says, and that was why most image books fail. They don't hit anywhere near those numbers and just can't be sustained.
Yeah.
And that's why crowdfunding, I think, is going to be a key component in my business model for a very, very long time. Now, again, that goes back to offering something, that is a little unique, For example, we have with Tibby and Time Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms issue 2, we have a not safe for work cover. And I've shown that to you. I don't believe we can show this on here because
Yeah,
you'll
can't
get,
do it live, but yeah.
yeah, you'll get your channel struck for it.
Yeah.
It's a very artistic piece. It's not really vulgar at all, but we're
pretty artsy around here.
Yeah. We're going to make that available to our crowdfunding backers, and it won't be available, anywhere else other than for like the comps from the art team, and then the stuff that I'll print for me, stuff like that.
Calm down, Corey.
Yeah, I'll tell you
down.
where you can see it though, Corey. I'll tell you where you can see it. If you check out on Twitter /X on SINOPA Publishing, we posted a redacted safety version of that on our Twitter. So you can check it out. It's absolutely gorgeous work by Damian Torres. Some of you might know him from his work on Red Sonja. A few other titles he's done work on. Absolutely brilliant artist. Really fortunate to get to work with him.
Well, I would say this has been a fantastic discussion. I know you had some things to show us.
Yeah.
So if you want to, let's jump into that.
Okay.
And then
so
we'll wrap up the show after that. But this has been highly informative. A fantastic show.
Blew by really quickly.
Yeah, I talk too much.
No, it was great. It was great.
We
you had a lot of information, and that's
yeah.
awesome. Man, let me bring this up.
So
here we go.
Guys, here's the thing. The book is going to be shipping to comic shops in September. It's in this month's preview for order. So go down to your local comic shop and say, hey, I want to order this book that's coming in. I'm sorry, September 25th is the target date. It's on shelves. We want to order this book to check this out. Get Tibby and her time-traveling psychedelic mushrooms. It's under the Antarctic Press logo for this first issue. Every issue of Tibby is its own fully self-contained story. So whether it takes 28 pages to tell a story or 58 pages to tell a story or whatever it is, we'll have complete stories in each issue of this series. As long as I'm still writing it, you know what I'm saying? Nice. As long as I'm still making it. Book is going to be $4.20, so it's real easy. There's also a foil variant that's $8.40. But this is the story of Tibby, who is the girl next door, the lady next door, a college graduate with 2 advanced degrees in botany and chemistry, who's working a gig economy because there's just so few jobs for people who really are in those fields. And while she is working at the local dispensary and driving Uber and everything else, at home she has created her own new homegrown strain of psychedelic mushroom. And the first time she tries it sends her on a wild trip back in time, where she has a wild little adventure with dinosaurs. So there's some adventure, a little excitement, some barely clad, bubble bath beauty, as the pitch line goes. Some people do get a little frustrated because the bubbles don't fall off, but we knew that we wanted to get this on the shelves. It is a risque kind of book, so 18 and up. Don't give it to your 12-year-old nephew. Your sibling will not approve. But it's beautifully illustrated. Damian Torres, who did the cover, did all the line art on the interiors, just like he's doing on issue 2. He did the color on the covers, and the color on the interiors are done by Dakota Erhan, who, like Dakota, is also who, like Damian, is a Kubert School graduate and studied under Nick Capone, who's someone I work with on Reign of Ages. He's my co-creator on that title.
Very talented.
Beautiful, beautiful book. And I think you're going to love it. So one of the things that we've talked about with this, and let me go ahead and you've got some images I sent to you. Do you want to share some of those while I talk about what we're doing about the metrics and everything?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Okay. So one of the things I've been doing in the shows that I've been going to is we're going to take and look at what the total view count is on these shows and on the blogs. And excuse me, sorry about that.
Right.
It snuck up on me. Those view counts. And we're going to look at what the final order total is for Tibby and compare it to what we're projecting, right? So this is right at the beginning of the book where she's doing a little streaming from the garden. And so it's up to us to see, does the comic book audience on YouTube, on Twitch, on X/Twitter, the people who are listening to our podcasts and watching our YouTube channels and really listening to what we have to say, not just about, the comics that are coming out of Marvel and DC and Image and, the manga that's coming out of Japan and the painted stuff that's coming out of France and all this cool things.
Right.
But when we're sitting here watching and listening and taking in the entertainment about talking about comics, are we actually going to get motivated to go up and support our local businesses and order a book that we think is cool? And so this is kind of an experiment in marketing and kind of an experiment in what the audience is actually doing. So if you haven't picked up Tibby and Her Time Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms before, I encourage you to go ahead and take this order code that we have down in the description. Go down to your comic shop on your next trip. Go this weekend and put your order in, and have them add it to your pull for September. $4.20, less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You're going to get a great time with this little book, and I'll tell you, it's just the apple of a lot of people's eye already. The only criticism we've had is literally that there isn't fully exposed nudity in the book.
Someone's like, come on, we want to see boobies.
How did the bubbles not fall off? So what we are going to do for issue 2 is we're going to have a stretch goal. And that stretch goal, if we meet it, which is going to be somewhere around $16,000, so it'll be a record crowdfunding for us at that point if we hit there, is we're going to add 4 pinups in the crowdfunding edition of the book that won't be printed in any other edition, any other floppy edition, and we'll have 4, little more than risque things out there. We've already talked about what we're going to do with it, and so it'll be fun, also by Damian Torres. So we'll have some really sharp art coming out of it, consistent with the rest of the whole title line.
I'm going to show this image real quick. It doesn't have any nudity, but it is some bubbles. But I'm pop it up real quick, and I'm gonna pull it down because YouTube is weird, and we got a show knocked down for just looking at a Scarlet, whatever John Stinsman's book was. I think tagged. They're like nudity, and I'm like, there's no damn.
Well, that's like this picture right here. I had to make sure that I had the camera down enough so it only caught like the bottom part. That's the cover from the crowdfunding edition for Tibby, so I had to make sure that was a little lower.
Oh, that's actually what I'm gonna show here, but 2 seconds. And if they hit us, then I'll just edit this part out later. But just for you guys watching live, here's a really sexy, really cool cover here. Check this out. Yeah, that's
actually the 2-page spread from the interior.
Oh, that's a 2-page spread. All right, but regardless,
the cover. I've got this is a holochrome version, so we'll do this real quick too. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the holochrome cover, crowdfunding edition. Tibby, time traveling psychedelic mushrooms. We only printed 50 of those. Only 50. I think we've got 11 left, and we have, I think, 8 or 9 or something like that, or maybe we got 12 left. We've got a very small number of them left on our Fund My Comics store page. They're printed in the United States through Comics Wellspring. That's the only thing they've really printed for us is the holofoil stuff we've had done.
I know they do some good holofoil stuff over there.
The rest of our stuff is printed through Mix'em or through Avenue 4. We do a lot with Mix'em. What's really wild is that we have a really cool relationship with them. We've been printing with them, for basically 6 years now, and we have like a company discount with them, the whole 9 yards. So the cool thing,
I don't know what bugs me more, the bubbles on the boobs or the feathers on the dinos.
yeah. I mean, the modern science tells us that a lot of dinosaurs had feathers. So
side tangent. I just took my daughter to this thing called Jurassic Quest, which is this kind of kid interaction thing that goes across the nation. And it's all about dinosaurs or whatever. And they have more dinosaurs kind of posed with feathers. And I was talking, my wife and I had a discussion. I was like, well, it's like as much as aesthetically it's not as pleasing because we've grown up with what we think dinosaurs look like. I was like, but they're coming out and saying more and more that a lot of these dinosaurs actually had feathers. So yeah, I get it. All right. Side tangent over.
But I mean, it's nifty. We had to pull a lot of data.
Bubbles and boobs.
Okay.
I'll put it in our notes.
I'm in.
Now, hold on a second, because we do. have. I don't have the book done yet, so this is the closest we're going to come. This is the safe cover art for Tibby issue 2, which is we're going back to 1969 to Woodstock and hanging out with hippies.
That's good.
And so that's
I
the
like
cover
that.
art for issue 2 for the one that's going to see a lot of circulation. So we're hoping that people will come down to their comic shop and see if we can actually make a difference. Now, as part of this, of course, when we get our final sales numbers, rather than people like having to guess or whatever, we're just going to come out and say, hey, Sean, Joe, guys, this is what our final numbers were. This is what what your channel metrics are. This is what our total views we saw across all of the channels that we had. And this is the raw data. We're not going to tell you what it means. We're going to let you interpret, well, was it worth your time? Was it worth the effort to bring people into the comic shops? Does it make a difference? Is the audience that we're talking to actually willing to go to the comic shops? And if they are, can we make a difference? Can we help these stores thrive by bringing our titles to your local comic shop, whether it's shipping to them directly or, coming in through companies like NR Press or through Mad Cave or Boom or whoever's willing to take on some of these titles. And let's be very honest. They're going to be picky.
Right.
Because they have to be. Just like we said at the first, there's
absolutely.
a significant cost outlay, right? And you can't just throw money at the wall and see what sticks. That's how you get like companies failing pretty notably that we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years, right? So being smart about it. And if your book isn't right with one company, it might be right with another. And if it's not, maybe it's time to pick up the phone and call Image and say, hey, let's see if this does. But here's something I want to remind you guys, okay? If you're funding your book through crowdfunding, right? Don't let unless this is just a hobby for you, okay? I'm not going to try and tell you how to live your life. If it's just a hobby, you do you. But if you're looking at making it sustainable, about making a business, about having it make a financial impact in your life and in the lives of the people who are selling your book at stores or wherever, the thing that you really want to do is to take advantage of every sales opportunity. So when you're doing your crowdfunding, the project can't just end when the campaign fulfills. You need to be selling those books. Sure, set some aside for the future Kickstarters, but in the meantime, get those books out there. Some of the best shows that I've done have been local library shows. I did there's a little town called Irvine, Kentucky. It has a population of about 2,300, I think, somewhere around there. I did a show at the library there last year, and we sold $400 in 2 hours.
Wow.
And my books are $5.
A library. Nice.
A library. And my comics were $5. My D&D books I was selling were $20. And our 11 by 17s we had were $10. The library gave us the table for free, so we didn't have to recoup that. So we had the lowest prices we could do. And we did $400 in 2 hours. In a place that was just teeny tiny, little. It was nice place, clean place, beautiful place, but people really loved it. So digital sales, Jero. So digital are a huge part of my markup. Now, on most of the months, my royalties from drive-through pay my phone bill or my gas bill or both. Okay, so every month we're anywhere from $40, $100, $150 in royalties, right? To put that into more hard numbers, 47. We'll use 47 Fury Tales issue 1 because I've released this number a lot. We released that book in 2019, so it's 5 years, and sales wise, including the ones that we've done like digital fulfillment for crowdfunding as add-ons and stuff like that, we're at about 3,800 units moved. And then we've got another like 2,000 we donated through like Humble Bumble and through some other charities and stuff like that. And in conjunction with other crowdfunding, another 2. So we're approaching 6,000 digital units on 47 Furious Tales issue 1. Issue 2's right about 3,500. We haven't really done a lot of donating with that one, so it's just the raw sales. And issue 3, which was in 2022 when we released it, if I remember right, it's about the same. Now, Tibby released in September of last year, 2023, and we were at about 1,400 digital units on that so far. which were almost all done in September, October, and then early November, which is really frustrating in a lot of ways because we did a lot of digital sales in October at New York Comic Con. We had a little QR code people could scan and get Tibby digitally for like $1, and we did hundreds of those. Boom, 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 boom,
Nice.
and that was really cool. But the thing is that by the end of October, we had broken completely even on like the press run I did, because we did 5,450 books for that book, for that issue, as far as our Mixum press run, and our 50, that and the 50 Holochromes was the 50 of the 5450. But after that, we took in, since we broke even, we assigned some extra little bonus to the team, and we put a royalty on all the digital sales for everyone on the team. So that was like the death knell for the digital sales on Tibby, because as soon as everyone got royalties assigned, it went from like, hey, we sold 30 today and 20 today and 40 today, to we sold 1 on Wednesday and 2 on Friday, and it'll trickle like that sometimes. But you just got to keep the books out there and keep them available. We do some cool specials on digital now with convention appearances. So for example, our next convention that we go to, we're gonna have 10 digital books for $10, and so that QR code will turn $10 a pop. The nice part about that is that on drive-through, when you have a sale through that, it automatically sends royalties to anyone you assign royalties to, which I usually do as a bonus whenever we break even on total costs. Once we've sold through and recouped our money on print runs and all that, and we're actually profitable, then we'll usually put a little bit extra on that so that folks can make it. And for some titles, that does pretty well. And for others, it's like, oh, hey, you made $19 this year,
Right.
47 Furious Tales probably sells the absolute best of any of our digital comics. And then a lot of our other sales are just from our RPG stuff. Our RPG stuff, we haven't put out an RPG book in 3 years, and it's still a huge portion of our monthly sales revenue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That is amazing.
This has been a great discussion. We'll have to get you back on again, because I think this is some awesome stuff. We are running up on the time here.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
No,
you're fine.
awesome.
This has been fantastic.
If
you guys are watching this live,
was awesome.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, your transparency, your honesty about numbers. Just a lot of people fluff and like to come off more than they are, and we're all trying to sell ourselves to one degree or another. And this has just been a real gem of a episode. And thank you for spending your hard-earned time with us in the chat.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
And open invite chat. Don't be chumps. Let's show that our statistics are better than the others. If you catch my drift. But yeah, this has been a phenomenal show.
Guys, make sure you're sharing this everywhere. Make sure you share it everywhere. Tell your friends about it. Tell the guys at your local comic shop about it. And make sure you're ordering Tibby for September. You're gonna love it. And if you do, let us know on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever. If you don't, also let us know. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your engagement. We want to hear about what your experience is. And let Joe and Sean know that you heard about Tibby here. Of course, Will's already has his copy of the book. Will Pace. He's, he got his pretty early. I think he was like one of the people who shipped on like day 2 of the fulfillment or something like that. He was a very early backer on that book. So
nice. Links are down below, guys. Including the preview code, the preview orders code that you can grab up, right? Sam, you want to just re-explain that just one more time for anybody watching?
When you're looking at previews, I'll go ahead and pull that up again. When you're going to your comic shop, there we go. All right. When you're going to your comic shop, you'll see that you have your order code for previews for this book. So you've got July 24, 1353. And July 24, 1354, which you'll see in previews also, which is the foil version. And then there's your suggested retail price at your store for $4.20, which was actually the AP marketing guy's idea. That's their 420 joke of the day.
Nice.
So, but when you read Tibby, she's also growing marijuana in her grow room. So there's a lot of fun stuff going there.
Yep.
But definitely take the time, support your local business, help support us too as well, because we're going to make probably 3 or 4 cents off every book that is sold. So it doesn't sound like a lot. It's actually probably more than that. It's probably more like 11 or 12 cents or somewhere in there. But the key thing is that we're going to make a little bit of money that'll help us, continue to pay our artists. And to that, I want to preach just one little thing, because one of the questions I get is a lot of the artists who've been working with me have been working with me for 7 years, 6 years, 5 years. I commissioned them one time, and then we have a really good working relationship going forward. And people have asked me, like, how do you manage that? And the answer is remarkably simple. I pay my people the best rates I can. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building SINOPA to have something to leave to my kids when I'm gone, because I'm an older dude anyway.
There you go.
And I'm an old dude with young kids, so it's a wild position to be in. But treating people well, professionally, with respect, and paying them the best rates is important. Like I said, with our current market rates, we'd have to sell about 25 to 30,000 or so to be self-sufficient in the mainstream market. Crowdfunding makes that much more tenable when we have like an $8,000, $9,000, $6,000 goal, and the support of folks at conventions too. But this kind of thing will help us expand that even more. And if we can ever get to where we're doing 50,000 or more, then I can actually make sure I'm paying our guys even more, so they can spend more time as artists, more time as colorists, and less time, working, reception, or working at the coffee shop, or, turning lugs, giving these guys with these rare, precious gifts the opportunity to exercise them, because that's how you get things like that.
Oh my
Oh, that's
goodness.
awesome.
That is beautiful.
Who did that?
Sandra Cole.
Oh,
She's
nice.
done a lot of RPG illustrations for us. And this is give you an idea. There's another one from Sandra.
Oh, that's really good.
Very talented.
So we've got a lot of really cool people making a lot of really cool stuff, and I hope you guys will all enjoy it. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to Sean and Joe if you haven't already. Make sure you're sharing this far and wide. Let's make this video the most watched they've had this year.
Hell yeah.
Yes,
I
please.
like that.
Yeah, please.
I love that. If you guys are watching over on X, please head to the YouTube channel. The links are all down below in the description. While you're there, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Before we get out of here, we do have a couple books on this show as well. We've got Type 1 here by Sean Ahrendt.
Yes, this is my action adventure story with some Mayan and Aztec lore. More than anything, it's got heart to it. It's about an uncle and nephew and a father and a daughter, which I think a lot of people could relate to. Got some cool art by me, phenomenally written by me. Colors by legendary colors Dan Kemp. Dan, I have this on Facebook Live because I know you're watching, and I do give you your flowers. I love you, brother. I have an amazing team. Mark Polton is editing it. Eric Weathers will be lettering it once we get to that final stage. But this is a true life story, kind of fantastical elements to a degree. And yeah, it's my dream project. Thank you for everybody that's believing this, that's pushing me, inspiring me to be a better creator. So don't be a bum, back Type 1. And that's me.
Yes, absolutely. Also, I've got a book called Reaper Destroyer that I noticed the other day crossed over 72K. So shout out to everybody that's come out.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, chat.
Thank you. Appreciate it. This book did more than I ever thought was even possible to do in a crowdfunding space, especially the first timer. Nobody like me. I appreciate everybody's come out and backed the book and stuck with me for the 2 years I've been working on it, the ups and downs, learning experience that I've gone through. But you know what? I just got the physical copy, the physical proof copy in today, and I'm checking that out. And it looks really, really awesome. A couple tweaks I think I need to be made before we can actually go to print. And we'll talk more as that goes. But as we were talking earlier in the show, and some me telling you that this is a 90s about of the 90s, like Dark Heroes, and if you love all these other characters, you're gonna love it. This is a book about a man who's imprisoned in a supernatural suit of armor. It's inhabited by the ancient spirit of death, who's trying to possess his soul. It's got an amazing story to it. I gotta tell you, I'm really big into world building. So this has a gigantic world that spans from the beginning of time to the end of time, and we just focus specifically on this period right now. But we're gonna be jumping all over the place. Some awesome characters, amazing art. Well, not amazing art by me. That sounds really
no.
vein, but
do
it's
it. I do it all the time.
amazing talents in this book. I am the artist on this book, but I've got awesome inkers, some guys that have worked in the industry for years, like Matt Batbani and Joe Williams from Top Cow. Throw some ink on this, as well as Marlo Aquiza.
Did I see Dale Keown on that earlier?
Dale Keown, I almost always forget that. I'm just so used to it now. But Dale Keown did an amazing Pit #1 homage cover. That is one of my favorites. If you guys know, Pit #1 is one of my favorite all-time books ever. And it was a dream come true to get Dale Keown to draw this, Joe Chiato to do the colors, and then Chance Wolf to come in and mock up my logo to give the classic Pit splatter and the ripping first issue for Pit, but this is the reaping first issue. So yeah, the homage Pit #1 cover. Check that out.
That's pretty cool.
I do have to give a shout out. There is a supplemental book that we put out on the campaign that has 2 backup stories. One that I wrote with art by Oliver Isabedra, who I think is fantastic. He's one of my favorite indie artists out there, and there's a lot of talent out there. But working with this guy was awesome. It was the first time I got to just kind of be the writer and not drawing it. So seeing how someone else took my story and interpreted it was awesome. And now Oliver just knocked it out of the park with one of my characters, Apophis. Check that out. I'm really excited how that came out. Our very own Kayla, who's been in and out of the chat all night, wrote an awesome story. Yes, it looks sexy, guys. I know it does, but it is is a lot more than that. It's very kind of a mind-bending story that she did. She's a Claremont disciple. I'll just throw that out there. With awesome art by Fabio Samo. The team that I put
Fabio
together.
Sameo. Yeah.
He's Sameo. Yes, I always pronounce his name wrong. Fantastic
cool.
artist.
Fabio's fantastic.
He's so cool. He's so awesome. These guys I've brought onto this project have been amazing. Some of the best talent I can find all around. So check out the main book and the supplemental book as well. Like I said, we are getting very close to print, and I'll just as a tease, got that in today. So
nice.
We'll I have an unboxing video that we're going to do with that, and it's really cool to see it actually in hand. A couple of tweaks I need to make. I'll just say that right now, so don't get too excited that we're going to print tomorrow.
That's why proof copies are important.
Yes.
Overall,
it looks fantastic. But a couple of things I looked at, I'm like, I want him to tweak something. So check it out. Links are all down below for everything. Sam, thank you so much for coming on. This was a fantastic
thanks for having
show.
me, guys.
I learned a ton tonight. I really did, and changed my mind on a few different things as well.
Very
Hail Lore is going to be reviewing Reaper Destroyer 2 he's going to be putting it out as it gets into people's hands. I'll say that.
It's good to see so many people I recognize from Twitter and such on here. Rick, I hope you enjoyed 47 Furious Tales, man.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the chat, guys, you've been amazing all night. Everybody that's been chilling with us here in YouTube, over on X as well. Thank you so much for making this show very, very fun.
Yep.
Before we get out of here, Sam, starting with you, where are you going to be next? Where can people follow you personally? Obviously, we talked a lot about your company and all the books, but if you want to give one last plug before we get out of here.
One last plug, just guys, go to your local comic shop, order Tibby and your time traveling psychedelic mushrooms, and enjoy it. If you can't wait till September, you can find us on our SINOPA store page that we just launched a couple weeks ago, right before I caught COVID. And we've only had one order on it. Haven't been able to promote it very much, but all that material is in stock or is print to order, like our coffee mugs I've been drinking out of.
Oh, nice!
Oh, that's so cool.
Keep it up. There we go.
That's Dan Donnelly's art and his interpretation of our Reign of Ages, which is our black and white fantasy series. But guys, if you can't wait till September, you can go on to Fund My Comic, look for the SINOPA Publishing store page. Every order is shipped the very next business day because Luke has done a fantastic job with making sure that transactions go through. They're verified very quickly. We go ahead and ship literally the next business day. So you'll have your book usually before you even have time to forget you ordered
it. Nice. That's awesome.
Nice.
Sean, what about you, man?
Well, this Saturday we'll be here at what time are we doing the Turtles?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Eastern. We're gonna be going over with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Joe, myself, a bunch of our buddies have a discussion about that. But Monday we got the Spawn show at 9 o'clock Eastern. Then we got Akba at 10 p.m. From Wednesday on, I am going to be in Long Island and Fire Island.
And I'm going to be on vacation.
He's going to be on vacation too. Well deserved.
Yep.
I'm going to be being the American tour guide to my imported Mexican relatives, so I might be out of the picture for a while. But don't be a bum. Back type 1. Back the donate tier. If you donate a book, if you do donate book tier, you're going to donate 2 books to 2 children with juvenile diabetes or type 1 diabetes, and you will get a medal card as a thank you by Jeff Muth and Dan Kemp. So
nice.
That's what I got for my spiel.
And then Sean basically said it for me. That's what our schedule is for the next week and a half. So hey, look at us doing things, man. Again, Sam, thank you so much for coming on. Shout out to the chat. You guys are awesome. Absolutely. We'll do it again. Until then, guys, as always, I'm just going to say, be good to each other. Take care of one another. And as always, picture me naked. Talk to y'all later. Peace.